November 20th. The quiet town of Shivpura is about to be shaken to its core. A frantic call sends local police speeding towards a large, imposing bungalow. It belongs to Mahesh Malhotra, a wealthy and influential businessman. As the officers pull up, an eerie silence hangs over the property. The kind of quiet that makes the hair on your arms stand up. Something is deeply wrong here. They move into the house, their footsteps echoing through the empty halls. What they find inside is a scene of unimaginable tragedy. For members of the Malhotra family, discovered in different rooms, all unresponsive. The house feels frozen in time, a silent monument to a sudden, terrible event. But there's one person missing, the head of the household, Mahesh Malhotra himself. The police search every inch of the property, from the bedrooms to the sprawling garden. There's no trace of him. The initial theory is that he might have fled after a horrific family incident. But as the investigation unfolds, this case will twist into something far darker. With roots buried deep in the past, detectives start by talking to the neighbors. People speak in hushed tones, almost afraid to say the words out loud. They paint a picture of Mahesh as a controlling man with a volatile temper. Despite his wealth, the Malhotra household was anything but peaceful. Arguments were common, and a constant tension simmered just beneath the surface. While the neighborhood whispers, investigators trace Mahesh's phone. It's still on. The signal leads them 20 kilometers away, to a desolate, unfinished building on a quiet road. There, amidst piles of rubble and construction debris, they find him. Mahesh Malhotra's life has also come to a violent end. Suddenly, the mystery is no longer about a man on the run. It's about a chain of devastating events, a cycle of tragedy that began decades ago. To understand what happened on that fateful November day, the police turn to the one person who has seen it all, Shakuntala Malhotra, Mahesh's elderly mother. Visibly shaken, with tears streaming down her face, she sits with the investigators. After a long, heavy silence, she says something that changes everything. "This didn't start today," she whispers. "This began many years ago." And just like that, the story rewinds, taking us back nearly 3 decades to 1997. The Malhotra family was once an empire, built by the patriarch Raghunath Malhotra, a respected industrialist in the liquor and construction business. He had 2 sons. Mahesh, the elder, was ambitious but hot-headed. Arjun, the younger, was calm, thoughtful, and level-headed. Mahesh's aggressive personality was a constant source of friction, while Arjun handled family and business matters with a respectful, careful touch. Mahesh was impatient, often clashing with employees and business partners. Over time, Raghunath started to favor Arjun, trusting him with more responsibility. Mahesh saw this. He felt slighted, ignored, and deeply insulted. The family home, once a place of warmth, became a cold, tense battleground. Then, the first tragedy struck. Mahesh's first wife, who was pregnant at the time, passed away under mysterious circumstances. The case was never solved. No one was held accountable. Unanswered questions hung in the air like a thick fog, creating a rift in the family that would never fully heal. After this, Raghunath began quietly shifting more and more of the business empire into Aryan's hands. For Mahesh, this was the ultimate betrayal. The tension in the house reached a breaking point. 2 years later, in 1999, another devastating loss. Raghunath, now older, had become more cautious. He started mentoring Aryan's young children Rohit, Kunal, and Mirat, and even hired a personal security guard. But one night, despite the precautions, he was attacked outside his office. Both he and his guard were killed in a sudden, brutal act of violence. The rumor mill-churned, and whispers immediately pointed towards Mahesh. But there was never enough evidence to make an arrest. The case went cold. With his father and brother now gone, Mahesh seized control of the entire family fortune. On the surface, his life seemed to stabilize. He was the undisputed head of the family. But for Aryan's children, the nightmare was just beginning. Rohit, Kunal, and Meera grew up under the shadow of their uncle Mahesh. They were family in name only. He excluded them from celebrations, ignored them during festivals, and consistently made them feel like unwanted outsiders in their own home. It was a childhood filled with emotional neglect and quiet humiliation. Despite this difficult upbringing, the three siblings were resilient. They never forgot their parents or the injustice that had stolen their family from them. As they grew older, Rohit and Kunal moved to Delhi, determined to build their own lives, free from their uncle's control. They worked hard, saved every penny, and focused on their future. They even took it upon themselves to arrange their sister Mira's marriage, ensuring she would have a stable life far away from the toxic environment of the Malhotra house. But the past has a long shadow. Even as adults, the years of humiliation, exclusion, and emotional pain never truly left them. Those feelings remain, buried deep, quietly shaping every decision they made. Years passed. The brothers eventually returned to Shivpura. They had come to ask for what was rightfully theirs, their share of the family property. But Mahesh met their request not with discussion, but with scorn. He publicly humiliated them, throwing insults and forcing them to leave empty-handed. For the brothers, this was the final straw. It was a painful echo of every injustice they had ever endured. All the old wounds, which had never truly healed, were torn wide open. Something inside them snapped. This brings us back to that terrible week in November. Shortly after that final, bitter confrontation over the property, the entire Malhotra household was found lifeless. The police launched a massive investigation. They soon noticed that one family member, Rohit, was missing. It wasn't long before they traced him. Months later, a breakthrough. Authorities uncovered a series of communications between the siblings, sent through anonymous accounts. With this new evidence, both brothers were taken into custody for questioning. In their statements, they finally confessed. They described decades of frustration, emotional pain, and a profound sense of injustice that had festered for years. It wasn't a single act, but the culmination of a chain of events that had poisoned their family for 3 generations. The unresolved conflicts, the bitter anger, and the crushing weight of silence had finally erupted. This story from Shivpura isn't just a true crime case. It's a powerful and tragic lesson about what can happen when family conflict is left to fester. It shows how unresolved anger and emotional wounds, when ignored, can grow into something truly destructive. In the heat of the moment, revenge might feel like justice, but it only creates a new cycle of pain, leaving behind a legacy of ruin. The town of Shivpura will never forget this tragedy. It serves as a chilling reminder that unresolved pain can shatter even the strongest of families. And now, those who acted out of that long-held anger must face the consequences of their choices, leaving behind a cautionary tale that will be told for generations to come, a story about family, trust, and the devastating cost of silent suffering. Thank you for watching. If you found this story compelling, please consider liking this video and subscribing for more content. Stay safe, and we'll see you next time.